I recently had a great conversation with somebody who wanted to have a very in-depth conversation about injuries, and I wanted to share a couple of the highlights with you here today. This individual had reached out because he has been seeing a chiropractor and a massage therapist, and they say that he keeps getting injured. And he was wanting to elaborate, or wanted me to elaborate rather, on what exactly is an injury. Now, I thought this was an intriguing question because what he presented to me was there's times that he has a few aches and pains here and there, but it's not negatively impacting his ability to exercise and race. Now, this individual happens to be a triathlete, and he was trying to decipher between when are those aches and pains training specific and when are those aches and pains what we refer to as a physiologist as a contraindication, meaning that you're going to cause more harm than good if you continue to train. So let's take a look at this. And again, I'm going to keep it very Cliff Note version, but I think this is a very interesting conversation. Let's talk first and foremost, what would be or where would the sources of injuries be in the human body? Well, we could get into something very structural like bone. And the reason why I'm not going to spend a lot of time on that is if you have a bone-related injury, it hurts when you sleep, it hurts when you're under physical activity. So we're going to kind of leave that in the category of structured, and we're going to leave that alone. Where this became an interesting conversation for this particular athlete was when he works out, the pain goes away. He goes and sees a specialist, in this case a chiropractor and a massage therapist. They say that you're constantly injured, but he says, but it's not keeping me from being able to race and train. All right, so let's go a little bit deeper. I want you to stop and think about a muscle. Each muscle has an origin and an insertion. So let's start with the muscle itself. One of the forms of injuries would be muscle related. You could tear the belly of the tissue. When we look at how muscles attach to bone, that is done through tendons. So we might rip a tendon, the attachment, or you might tear a ligament. Bones are kept together by ligaments. So don't let that be, the easiest way that you can remember it is you'll hear somebody say, I tore my MCL, medial crucial ligament. That's the easiest way. Most people can think about the knee and the MCL, ACL. Notice that the last letter is an L. That's the easiest way to remember bone on bone is a ligament. Muscles to bone are tendons. So when we look at the anatomy of an injury, it can come from the belly of the tissue. It could come from its attachments to the bone, or the bones attaching to one another can come through a ligament. Why was this athlete able to train and race even though he's always injured? Well, that's because it's soft tissue related, and when you get blood flow into that area, physical activity creates friction inside the tendons, ligaments, and muscles. That friction creates dilation. Warm blood flow goes in there, and most everything will elongate. Usually you'll start feeling the aches and pains once you cool down. The vasoconstriction happens, and then you start feeling some of those, as we like to call them, the niggles that are inside the body. So this was a very intriguing question because here this athlete's able to train and race, but his human performance specialist, the chiropractor and the massage therapist, is saying, hey, you're training, but you're injured. You're racing, but you're injured. Take the conversation full circle. It was a little over a 2-hour conversation as we looked at a lot of small details. Cliff Note version for you is strength has to be accompanied by good functional flexibility. We've talked about this in previous videos over and over again. Flexibility without strength is not beneficial either. So you could be super flexible, but have no physical strength. That's going to cause biomechanical issues that ultimately relate or result in an injury. And you can go the other direction. You can be super strong, have no flexibility, and actually end up creating more problems. And in this case, a muscle tear, a tendon tear, or even a ligament tear. So when we look at the three forms of injuries, it's always about striking that balance between flexibility and strength. And you can do it on either side of a joint, like quads to hamstrings is going to dictate knee health. Bicep to tricep is going to do your elbow. Chest to back is going to do your shoulders. You've heard me say this previously in other videos, but the idea that you're injured doesn't mean that you're incapacitated and can't train, and that's what makes us dangerous as humans. So I wanted to share that conversation with you in a very brief video here today. Please be aware of where can you become injured. muscles, tendons, and ligaments. So please be very, very aware of how your body feels before you start a workout. It's a great way to keep an accurate assessment. And this is where we want to make sure that you're not masking the pain with painkillers, because you can cause more damage, even to the point where, you might hurt yourself for a long period of time or even indefinitely. So let's not do that. I want to thank you for sticking with me here on this video today. I love answering your questions. If you happen to have a question, as always, please feel free to send it to me and my team. contact@coachrob.com. We are answering a video every day here on YouTube, so please remember to like and subscribe. Thanks for watching today, and we look forward to seeing you tomorrow.